I've heard things, Podo. Dark things.
We're missing Dragon Day!
I'm coming!
This is a story that is whimsical and it's fun, but it's also got a lot of heart.
I had seen Andrew as such a collaborator. He'd worked so hard to tell this story in this authentic way. I said, I actually want to partner with you. What if we considered that? And it is the most amazing thing to be in a position now where we can bring this to the screen.
Dark Flora in the deep.
The fans have been amazing because they've spread the word. We could not believe how many people jumped on board. It was thrilling, but it just kind of demonstrated what an incredible fan base the books had.
We're so thrilled to give families the imaginative world of Wingfeather Saga, of Aerwiar, of all these great characters. You're a bit of an ex-pirate yourself, I guess, yeah?
I'm a bit of an expert pirate, actually. Straight off the cliff, a lot of them.
Grandpa!
I feel like everyone is going to be able to enjoy this type of a series. It runs the gamut of emotions from joy to laughter to fear and facing life and death situations.
Blackaddish took 3 children in Dugtown last month.
I saw the drawing and thought, that's me. Keep them safe, I will. Get up, go, we go.
Stabbish elbows, exceedingly hoppy hinder parts.
We really, really believed that we had something special. And so to see not just an appetite, but a hunger to see the Wingfeather Saga make it to the screen is something that only the fans of the series could have done.
Run!
Can you believe we fought a Fang?
We fought a Fang! Oh, we're in so much trouble.
Hey everybody, Chris Wall here. Hope you're well.
My name's Garrett Taylor. You guys probably recognize me from the past. I'm the art director of the series.
And I'm the executive producer of the animated series. We're so glad to have you. We are not in our usual location, and it's kind of a surprise where we are, but we're super excited to be here. Thanks, Garrett, for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm excited. Look at this place. It's awesome.
We got lots we're going to show you here. We have a couple of big things and a exclusive clip. We're just going to keep offering clips to each time we hop on here with you all, and so it'll be worth your time to hang out. Trust us. This place is kind of eerily similar to a location in the Wingfeather Saga, Garrett.
Yeah, I'm getting this. I'm getting the books and crannies.
The books and crannies vibe. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, just grab some things off the shelf at any point here, and yeah, we're gonna do some exploring here in a minute because we can. So today we're gonna be really talking about books and literature and locations. And so if you're into that space, this is the right live stream for you. Okay, couple announcements we got to get through real quickly before we jump in too much further. In this live stream, we wanted to make sure that you're aware we announced this last week, but I don't know if everybody got it, that if you're a fan of The Chosen, it's a TV series about the life of Jesus and his disciples that a bunch of us have watched and enjoyed. It's a sister show with Angel Studios on the platform. They have a very special 2-episode event coming up on the 18th of November. And we have been given an opportunity to give a sneak preview of about 4 minutes of footage from episode 1 ahead of The Chosen. And so if you're interested in seeing some Wingfeather and you're a fan of Chosen, well, this is just perfect. And I recommend hop out there. The tickets are for sale right now if you want to go check that out. But we're so thankful for Angel Studios and Chosen team for giving us a slot there to introduce our show to a bunch of those families. So if you happen to be going, super cool.
Yeah, we're excited about that. I mean, just to be able to tag team and to be on the coattails of that show is exciting for us.
Yep, absolutely. So anyways, if you're interested in that, those tickets are available now. They are selling quickly. It's super exciting. We are inside of 30 days. I think we're down to 20-something days left before this show is going to be out in the world, which, as long a journey as we've been on, that we're down to the very last few days is very exciting. It's very intense for us right now, so a lot of stuff going on.
Some late nights.
Some late nights and early mornings, frankly.
Yes.
But season 1's coming up December 2nd. The first episode will be out there. And it is, for those of you that have watched the short film that we did in 2017, episode 1 will feel familiar, but then new. There's some new stuff in that. So I know for a lot of folks are like, wait, is it basically the short film from back then? It's not. It is some elements of that for sure, but it's a lot of new stuff. And then, of course, episode 2, yep, Lily and the Dragon song here. And then episode 2 will be 2 weeks later on December 16th. And it is a mysterious map. And you won't want to miss either one of those. Yeah. We have, coming up here in Nashville next week, a very special world premiere red carpet with our cast and crew and some very special guests, and we're just very excited about that. Got a bunch of people coming in, and it's going to be quite a celebration.
It's going to be a big deal.
We have been doing a lot of prep for that over the past couple of weeks at our house, to say the least. I don't know if I told you, well, I think you heard this, but so my sweet wife, Heather, she produces a lot of theater for high school stuff. And so she volunteered to help do decorations for this event. And you'll see a bunch of photos and videos from this. Don't worry, you're not going to miss it. But one of those tasks was creating some gooey blueberry balls, right?
Yeah.
Blueberry gooey balls. And she did a head count and decided we needed over 1,000 of these little balls. And I was like, yeah, I didn't know. So we have been like, we'll be watching, something on TV, maybe watching a football game and rolling goo balls. And we did 1,123, I believe was the final count.
And that count just kept going up because
every
time I talk to you, it's more and more.
It was like 600, then 800, then it just kept, I know. I came home that night, another big thing of dough. I'm like, what's happening? So we got to do some more. So anyways, we're all in, having a lot of fun setting this stuff up for y'all. Okay, the other thing I wanted to say is we have some really cool new merch. As you know, our show is always free. That's kind of the idea of it. And so we're community supported. So anytime that you support our show, either if you pay it forward or going and buying merch. And so we keep putting new stuff. We've got a couple new things coming on, I think next week.
Yeah.
But we've added a hoodie on, a new t-shirt that has tags on it, the 3 honored and great subjects, and some cool postcards. I don't think I saw the postcards until they were here. Did you see them?
I'm seeing them for the first time right now.
Heather told me about them last night. She's like, babe, you seen these postcards? I'm like, they're beautiful.
Awesome.
Cool.
That's great. Yeah.
Anyways, Brock Starnes, who works on our team, is working real hard with the folks at Angel, and they're helping make some really cool stuff. So do shop.angel.com or wingfeathersaga.com, and you can find that store. Anything you get there is supporting our show, and it's so cool, helping us make more episodes. It's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. We are in a bookstore that is very similar. Now, what we wanted to do, and we think this is going to be really fun, is we're going to pop around, because around a bookstore like this, you might find something like this, a little copy of Creaturepedia. Yeah, exactly. This is written by Alistair B. Pembroke, and something you might find in a bookstore like this. But Garrett, I thought we'd have a look around this particular shop here. So if you want to hang on for dear life, we're going to go for a ride. Here we go. Okay, so we are here in this really cool little office. Oh, you're seeing our lighting and everything. It's kind of spoiling, but this is just a good bookstore office right here. You know, is that a sexton over here? Is that what this is? This guy?
Yeah, I think so.
That's really cool. There's some really, so some of you might be able to guess what bookstore we are at. You know, because you know we live in Tennessee, and so some of you might be able to figure this out. But we're gonna have a look around. You know what we love about bookstores, and your family, I'm sure, loves bookstores too.
We're in here all the time.
But finding things, you know, like you walk around and you start picking stuff up.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sections in any bookstore, of course, is the kids section. So we're gonna make our way back. This actually, even the walking around here, Garrett, the layout of this place is so much like Books and Crannies, where the aisles aren't straight, right? Like you're just kind of making your way through a catacomb and trying to find, you know, what you might find. Oh, and here we are. Okay, we've stepped into the kids. I love kids books. This is one of my favorites. Look at that. There's a little. Gotta have a good chair to sit in, and a lot of good titles. Good set of Harry Potter over here. Nice big standee. Oh, but Garrett, what's this over here? Oh, on the shelf. Well, lo and behold,
Nice.
it's a set of Wingfeather Saga books. Yeah. So you can walk into a lot of bookstores and find these books, and we just walked in here, and it is. And
signed.
What? Check it out. There's some of these that have been signed by the author. What? Oh my. That's pretty great. They even got Wingfeather Tales. If you don't know, we have a set of Wingfeather Tales. This is other short stories from the world. Yeah. I love bookstores because you can just wander around and find things, right, that are interesting. Ooh, there's some good stuff over here. And you know, right now we're in. Oh, here we go. So you can find classics, right? Very Hungry Caterpillar. That's a great one. Fantasy, Black Booty. Oh, hey! Look at this, Garrett.
Oh yeah.
Look at this one over here. See, I just found something. Oh man, this is so good. The Story of God with Us. This is our friend Aiden actually illustrated this.
Yeah, and he's doing backgrounds on the series with us, so this has got a lot of his really cool paintings in it.
That's so good.
Yeah. He's bringing that to our show, which is awesome.
That's awesome. So again, bookstores are just really fantastic for finding things, as we're doing here. But think about the rooms. You know, I know we talked about when we were first thinking about Books and Crannies, Garrett, like figuring out like where some seating areas might be, because you can't just have the aisles and rows. But
yeah, there's something really inviting about a bookstore where having those kind of seating areas, which kind of calls you in to grab a story and sit down and go on a journey
and take it home.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we talked a little bit too about like the found bookcases, right? That you might wander around a place and just find some things. Like, what is happening here? That's a design we totally should have used. It's like
a ladder shelf.
Yeah,
it's great.
That is really great. And you know, any exposed wall is automatically a shelf.
Yeah.
Right. That is a national park. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, and then up here, just how there's books shoved in, you know, all cattywampus, and it's charming.
Everywhere, and then again, nothing's straight, right? You got like a over here. Now, in this particular bookstore, I happen to look down, even down the hallway, just like this little nook. Like there's nothing down here. Well, there's a restroom on one side, and then more books. Right. Every place there has to be books and a football.
Yeah,
that's right. But we talked about this like at Oscars, at Books and Crannies, that it likely would have been, you know, a fair number of found kind of bookshelves that he would have been adding in as he was trying to kind of capture and save as much of the books in Scree, you know, after the invasion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and just having stacks of books around as well. So it doesn't feel like a library, but definitely a bookstore where there's things still yet to be categorized and shown.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So, with all this around bookstores and bookshops that we're getting to see here, we wanted to take a minute and actually show you a really cool scene inside the bookstore. Oh man, there's another. Look at this book. 2 Centuries of Wallpaper. I didn't know that was a thing. And then there's a thing on David Copperfield. On like a little standee. Like, you know, it's whatever it takes. Anyways, okay, so what we thought we could do is actually show you a special exclusive clip of Books and Crannies and our Igiby kids making a visit on Dragon Day. So, check this out.
Jana, my boy, as the great poet and not-so-great circus performer Adderley Flameswallow's head, I could maybe use some help.
Oh, well, I can come back tomorrow. We're kind of in a hurry to get to Dragon
Day, exactly. I'm putting these books in the window to sell to festival goers, all of them about Sea Dragon.
Do any of them say why Dragon Song makes people act so...
Odd, silly, discombobulated?
Oh, yeah. Mayor Blagus couldn't stop crying for a week.
Oh, not only that. He was so deeply moved by the song, he promised to never again pick his nose in public.
I'm pretty sure that didn't work.
He made it almost 5 minutes.
That's great.
Yeah. Oscar Inverteep, everybody. He's quite a character. Played by dear Andrew Peterson, our author, and executive producer as well. He's doing a wonderful job. You know, I think like any bookstore, that's a scene where Oscar's taking advantage of Dragon Day. You know, and so it's Dragon Day. Get the books on dragons out front and see who might pick it up. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that scene because it shows just the kind of how we've brought that bookstore, which we became a little bit familiar with in the short, and really developed it out so that we can get those shots of Oscar coming down the stairs and, you know, piles of books being laid out. And I just love that part where he sets the books down and they start to fall over and then he catches them. There's just so much believability in there and humor. So...
One of the things that Andrew talked about in designing a proper bookstore, he's quite an aficionado of when he is out traveling, will find any corner bookstore and go visit it. And often if he finds Wingfeather Saga, go ahead and sign it, you know, and kind of slip in there. But he talks a lot about, you know, the great bookstores are ones you get lost in.
Yeah.
That you can't actually see from the front to the back. You know, you got to wind your way through and kind of journey through the whole thing. And I think that, and we were designing the space, it was very much of that idea.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a clean shot through the shop, you know.
Yeah, and a lot of times once we get in there, you know, we created just this labyrinth of bookshelves so that you don't even know where you are in the bookstore. You're just somewhere deep inside of it, and that kind of action can take place. There's little, you know, hiding places, and here's the back office area, which has just that kind of dusty feel to it. It was really fun just exploring inside of that environment. Yeah, papers and piles of stuff all over the place.
Hints of a chair to sit in, you know, a ladder, of course, to get up on, which reach those high shelves. Janner, if you know the books, Janner, Igiby, the oldest here, has a job. He works at the bookstore. You know, I think it seems to be, we talked about this, like, was he paid? I think he's paid in being able to borrow books. And so kind of regularly has a book on, you know, checked out.
Yeah, but this is like home away from home for him, for sure.
Yeah, and there's one of the things that you guys have asked us about adapting, you know, we had to figure out in the location, right? So we're thinking about adapting a location. So in the location of Books and Crannies, we had to work out that, like, well, there would have to be a place for a wagon that would carry books, right, to pull up. So we got to design a dock, right? We got to think about that, right? We got to think about, and then when you come in, where is that? Is there? And so that little office area we showed in the back is an area we could load in a bunch of books and sort them and kind of figure out what there is. The one thing I will say we don't really ever solve is how big upstairs is. So we know there's an upstairs. and we have characters go up there and kind of, but it could go on for, it's an area that's like, I don't know how big it is. Maybe it goes all the way.
Yeah, or just even where does Oscar sleep? I would imagine he's probably sleeps somewhere in a back room.
Cuddled with a book somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of his whole world right there.
But yeah, the adaptation process is interesting because a lot of times when we talk about adaptation, it's like thinking about story moments or character moments. But adaptation is about working out a location. Like, how does it work? Where do the characters move around? We think about that with the Igiby cottage. It's described well in the book, so it's not like Andrew didn't do his job as the writer. But there's details that we have to commit to. And I know, Garrett, you have a real affinity for construction and architecture and like making sure it's a real space. Like, and I think even the bookstore too. But the cottage, we wanted this kind of agedness and kind of, it's had some life on its bones, but also it's structurally sound.
Yeah, I mean it's such a long process getting into this stuff because when you read about it in the book, our imaginations just kind of take over, and everybody pictures something a little bit different. We're trying to consolidate that feeling and put it into a design that works from a lot of different angles, and that has to do with getting together early with the story department, a lot with Chris as the executive producer, showrunner, and just like, how can we get a camera, a quote unquote camera into this space and be able to get the shots that we need to tell the story. And so there's a lot of just floor plan drawing before we go into building out a set. And so, we would show a little box of that's the cottage and here's the garden because they need to come out in here from. So a lot of planning goes into all these sets prior to building them, just like you would if you were laying out a real bookstore.
Well, and as you said that too, I remember in Oscar's little office area, that area in the back, we had a lengthy discussion about what's the number of people that need to be back here. And there's a scene late in the series where there needs to be a number of characters that gather around. Okay, do we have enough actual space to fit those characters in there?
Yeah.
Or have we created a space that we can only fit 2 characters, right? Oh, bummer. Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
I know Igiby Cottage did the same thing, that as we were building out where they're going to sleep, their bedrooms, right? When we want the kids up top and they're loft, okay, how do they actually do, like, how do we arrange that? If we have 3 separate beds, wow, it's going to be a really big loft, and okay, let's do a bunk bed, so there's some working out. We have real characters that actually have to be in the space, right? But you still want to make a certain feel for it. So let's talk about that area, because I think their bedroom is another area upstairs that was one that we spent a fair amount of time kind of getting the feeling right,
Yeah, I think there's a lot, like Chris is saying, there's a lot of practical conversations that happen prior to the design phase. Once we know, okay, a bed will go here and a bed will go on the other side, and it's a loft, so it's raised up, then we can get into the design of it, and that's trying to capture that mood. What does something look like if it's carved out of wood? Because Poto probably would have handmade a lot of the furniture in this cottage, if not built the whole cottage himself. And so trying to avoid anything that looks like it's sawn by a machine, but much more split and carved, and then just the simple amenities that would be in a kind of a poorer family with just candlelight, a single bed covering, and all that stuff goes into just saying who are the Igibys.
And as you say that, I was reminded, much like in Books of Crannies, we had to come up with areas that we could have private things happen, right?
Yeah.
Discovery of secret things that others wouldn't be around for. In the house, and here's a great shot of kind of the upstairs and downstairs, we needed to have some privacy so that if Lily's up there with the boys and need to talk about something, how are we pulling that off? And had to come up with some clever design ideas there to make that work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I doubt we have a picture of it, but we ended up having to design kind of a divider of sorts made out of fabric.
It's like, and it's kind of the classic, it's like an old hospital one, like those wheel between where you just divide between 2 beds and an open floor,
Which would make sense if it's a boys and girls room kind of sharing that they're going to have their halves. Yeah.
So all these interesting decisions have to be made. And then there's a lot of reference that falls in. So I know we talked about the bookstore we're in, which, comment below if you think you figured it out, if you know what bookstore we're in the state of Tennessee. But this bookstore itself was one that we, referenced and talked about. Like, can it feel like this? Which is like the height of the ceiling, the type of trim, the floor coverings. It's all these factors that make a certain feeling, right?
Yeah.
Andrew had provided, he had I don't know if you remember this, but he had like a whole folder of photos of bookstores that he's visited that were some of his favorites,
Exactly. Yeah, for the interior and the exterior, I think, he's done some travels in England, and I did a little spelunking on, Google looking for images of bookstores, and it's pretty classic. I mean, you've got a window to put books in, you've got a front door, and just kind of this 2-story townhouse style where it's built into the street. And so we're trying to capture all those things where we feel like we've visited places like this.
Yeah, and some, darker areas and lighter areas. I love how in the bookstore there are light sources so that you can have some bright areas and then some shadowed areas as you kind of move around it. Spare number of lamps here and there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
In our bookstore, one of the considerations that as I look out in this bookstore here, I think they have it, but was enough height in the ceiling and the top of the bookshelves for Zuzab, our Ridge Runner, to be able to move about freely.
Yeah.
And to kind of parkour his way around bookshelf to bookshelf.
Yep. Yeah, because he's all over the place. I mean, there's a lot of just shots of, up shots of him at the top of the bookshelves and running to and fro. And it's great action. But yeah, that was a consideration, and just the scaling of everything.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
I will say, some people might step into a bookstore like we've done here. Oh, there's a great shot of Suzanne. And think of it as messy or cluttered. Others can think of it as like a treasure, and it's just that who knows what you will find, what special version of a book. We're talking about this is crazy with some of the fine folks here at this bookstore. Comment below if you figured it out. That the first edition of Wingfeather Saga, right, the kind of the paperback and kind of broad color versions of those, are now becoming a bit of a rarity, and there's a bit of a price jump on some of them to get them, which is really fun to think about. Our old raggedy copy doesn't qualify; it's pretty bad, but that the books have been around long enough that they're starting to get into that territory of which version do you have?
Oh yeah, well I should go dig mine out.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to say here too is that we talk a lot about the importance of books, and so we love books. We love reading books and just the way they spark our imagination. Of course, the Wingfeather Saga books alone were part of that. But even in world, right? So Oscar Inreteep is someone who really loves books, and if you've read the whole Wingfeather Saga, you know that there's a couple books that figure in really importantly in telling a bit of history and understanding the world that they get no other place. And so it's cool that it's kind of woven not only as an idea within the very book you're reading, but that in the world there's actually high value to these places. And I'm reminded there's a conversation later in the season between Oscar and Janner and talking about the value of a good book. And, Oscar has journeyed all around Scree trying to preserve parts of the culture there and collect these books, right, and preserve that.
Yeah.
And so you think of these places, especially a good one like this, as like a bit of a safekeeping of history.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Seems to be a fair amount of history around us right here.
Yeah, this is the old book section, I think.
These are wonderful. Man. All right. We can't wait to show you more of our locations from season 1. We've got a couple that I'm sure they're thinking about that are not a bookstore, but there's some other cool locations that we have to show you that will come up soon. We're going to wait on some of those to make sure that they are introduced at the right time. But we hope that this bookstore visit is one that inspires you. Go check out your local bookstores. Like go walk among the aisles and see what you find, what books you might pull up, because there's a lot of great stories out in the world, and books are a great way to encounter them and read them, including books like Creaturepedia. If you haven't seen this one, it's pretty delightful, describing all of the different creatures inside the world of Aerwiar, and where they live and what they're like, with some great illustrations from Andrew Peterson, including sea dragons, if you want to see specifically.
Yeah, it's great.
Pretty wonderful.
Yeah, we reference that heavily for everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, if Pembroke was able to catch it, we should definitely look at what he put down.
Exactly. Yeah, and really, Aiden ended up designing quite a few of our characters, so
yeah, he did a great job.
It's going to be pretty accurate.
All right. If you have a guess where we are, and it's right, we'll give you a high five down there in the comments. But should we tell them where we are?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. We're at Landmark Booksellers in downtown Franklin, Tennessee. This is a very special bookshop, and they are actually going to travel to visit us during the premiere next week.
Yeah, it's awesome. They're going to set up a table and kind of get in character for Books and Crannies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a great idea.
So if you don't know, if you're in the Tennessee area, in Middle Tennessee, and want a little bookstore to come visit, come check out Landmark. It's in downtown Franklin. And it's funny because it's now been surrounded by a lot of development, and it just stands here in the middle of this little parking lot.
Yeah.
And it's great. We love it. And they really support local authors. Andrew has been here a lot. And they're just really a wonderful shop. So come check them out.
Yeah, and they're stocked up on Wingfeather books, as you saw.
They're all set.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Including some signed copies. All right. Thank you for taking some time to hang out with us here on this live stream. Garrett, thanks for joining us here.
Yeah.
Talking locations and hanging out in a bookstore. We're going to go do some shopping now and poke around. But we're going to give you some stuff from the red carpet premiere next week. And we'll do some announcements on that. You'll see them out on social media. I hope you get to peek in on some of that activity. And then soon enough, it's going to be time for premiere, December 2nd. It's happening.
Yeah.
And we'll have a little break of a little Thanksgiving break in between, and then here comes Lily and the Dragon Song. Going to be so amazing. By the way, if you haven't seen, I'm sure you've seen the featurette that came out, but the question was asked a couple times actually, does the actress who plays Lily actually sing the Dragon Song? And yes, she does. And she's really an accomplished singer. She's currently on Broadway.
Oh, wow.
In a show. And yeah, she's lovely, very talented. So yes, when you hear her little voice in there, that's actually Lily singing. Which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for taking some time with us, and we're going to go shop in the bookstore a little more. Have a great rest of your day.
One Jamie! Oh my goodness.
It has been a long journey, folks, and we have met so many obstacles.
With Janner's lines, I've been like saying them out loud and seeing how it felt.
I can't understand the cast.
I saw the drawing and thought, that's me.
I have two older brothers, and I'm the youngest girl.
To be part of a project where it lines up.
I'm sure he's capable of giving me a good run for my money.